Come on, chicken chow mein, we can do this. Budget friendlier. I'm mixing the sauce. This is a great budget friendly sauce. Let's go over one of my most viral, most watched videos, chicken chow mein, easy. And I'm even going to simplify the sauce that you put in the chicken chow mein that makes it a bit more budget friendly. Let's do this. For the chicken, I have 1 pound of thinly sliced chicken breast. Add a 1/4 teaspoon of white pepper, a tablespoon of soy sauce, and 2 teaspoons of baking soda. Sometimes I like to do egg white with a tablespoon of cornstarch, but I'm gonna do the baking soda today, and this is gonna sort of, you know, velvet and marinate the chicken. So that's done. Okay, so let's talk about some swap outs. Instead of using white pepper, I consider black pepper a freebie. I don't even factor that into the cost of this meal because salt, pepper, sugar, water, things like that, I believe most households will have that. So you don't have to use white pepper. Also, another swap out would be, instead of chicken breast, you can use chicken thigh meat if that's cheaper and better for your budget. A big one would be, instead of buying the chow mein noodles, unless you go to like an Asian grocery store, at my local grocery store, it's coming out over $4 for 12 ounces of those noodles. So a great swap out that's easier on your budget would be angel hair pasta. The cheapest box of pasta for this, $1.02. So I factored in a whole pound of angel hair pasta in the pricing, but technically for this recipe, it's only 12 ounces you would be using, so it's even cheaper. But yeah, those are really good swap outs for this recipe. I'm going to be using a 12-ounce bag or 340 grams of chow mein pan-fried noodles. It has instructions to basically place the noodles in boiling water for 20 seconds, drain, and then you can pan fry. I'm actually going to boil them and shock them in cold water and set them aside until I'm ready to use them. Okay, my water's boiling. I'm gonna add some salt. Noodles in. Gonna let that go for 20 seconds. It's not gonna take very long to cook this. Okay, so it's been long enough. Now I'm going to place them in my ice water bath. Okay, so my noodles have stopped cooking, so I'm going to place them on a baking sheet to sort of dry. So here I've drained all of the water. I have them sitting in this wire mesh strainer. So now I'm just going to place them on a large baking sheet that's lined with parchment paper so they don't stick. And it's just, I want these to dry out. They're just gonna get a lot crispier than just a soggy, wet noodle when you add it to your wok. So just to help, just kind of go over with a paper towel, just like that. Okay, so this is just gonna hang out until I need it. Let's put the sauce together. Here I already have 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce, and to that I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of dark soy sauce. Here I have a teaspoon and a half of rice vinegar, 1.5 teaspoons of sugar, and 1 tablespoon of sambal. And the ratios of these ingredients, you know, you'll want to give it a mix, taste it, and if you find that you want things to be a little more sweeter or to have, not necessarily sweet, but balance from the sugar, then, you know, add another pinch of sugar. If you want things spicier, then, you know, add that. So this is mixed. Now I'm going to add just a teaspoon or 2, maybe that's more like a teaspoon and a half of sesame oil. And that's it. This is going to be what coats the noodles and, you know, sauces this dish. So let me show you an easier, probably budget friendly, like stir fry sauce, even if you're coating like chow mein noodles. So in the original recipe, I used dark soy sauce. A lot of you might not have this ingredient in your pantry. It's something extra that you really can't budget for. So instead, just opt for soy sauce. Let's see. I think, well, since we're not using oyster sauce, we'll go for the full 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. Just regular soy sauce. If you want low sodium, because that's what you have, sure. Sesame oil is a must, so like I said, we'll add the 1.5 teaspoons or 1 teaspoon of that. Here we have sugar. So I'll go for 1. You know, I think 2 teaspoons would work. Instead of sambal, if you want a little kick to it, crushed red pepper flakes, you can add that. I'll leave it out because some people just don't even think that's necessary for a chow mein like sauce. This is very basic. So you'll want to give this a mix and adjust the ratios to your preference. This is a very simple sauce to put on your chow mein. And this does look like a little bit. So if you want, you know, you can kind of adjust the ratios, but here's the kicker. You kind of want it to coat. You want to make sure that it'll coat the noodles. So what we're going to do, 2 tablespoons of water into this. Give that a mix. And I'm going to add cornstarch. Not a heaping tablespoon, just 1. Give that a mix. And you want to make sure you're working with room temperature to cool water if you add like cornstarch, because then it'll get clumpy and lumpy. It won't combine well if it's super hot. So this will be your sauce, and I don't have noodles to coat it with, but I am going to cook this so you can see how it kind of thickens with this. And adjust the ratios. If you want more sauce, if this looks like it's not going to cut your coat your 12 ounces of chow mein, double this and taste it. If you want things, and actually before you add the cornstarch, you'll want to taste it for things like if you want it sweeter, if you want it saltier. But this is a basic stir-fry sauce that you can use for anything like chicken chow mein. Okay, so I have a pan with a little bit of cooking oil, and I just want to show you how this kind of thickens and how it's just a really great stir-fry sauce that you can add to your chicken chow mein. So hopefully this is preheated enough. Let's see. Yeah, it's sizzling. We're just going to stir. Once it starts to simmer, like already it's going to start to thicken. And then once it thickens and it starts like coating the back of your spoon like a thickened sauce, you shut off the heat, and that's the stir-fry sauce. Like I said, you can add this to your chicken chow mein if you want like chicken and broccoli. It's something that's very simple, budget friendly if you don't have like dark soy sauce, or I love to use Shaoxing. See, look at that. See how it's thickened? And that's it. I'm going to shut off the heat. And now you have a delicious sauce, and you can still adjust it. If you want a little sweeter, add some sugar. If you want saltier, if you want to thin it out, add a little water, cold water, and mix it again. I'm mixing the sauce, and it's perfect. Look at this. Perfect. This is a great budget-friendly sauce for any type of stir-fry, especially chicken chow mein. For the fresh ingredients, it's very versatile, this dish, and you can use whatever you have on hand. For example, here I have about 3 ounces or maybe 1.5 cups of thinly shredded cabbage, fresh cabbage. I used the whites and the greens of 5 scallions, and you can chop and slice them how you like. Here I have 2 large celery sticks that I just cut diagonally into thin slices, and 1 medium carrot that I julienne. And I'm also going to be adding fresh garlic. My husband loves garlic, and he likes pieces or like thinly sliced chunks in his stir fry, but you can definitely mince this. But this is what I opt to do because it's just what my family likes. But I'm using about 4 to 5 cloves of garlic. And here is the marinated chicken. So I'm going to start preheating my wok, and we're going to start stir frying and cooking these. Okay, here I have a large wok that I've preheated over medium high to high heat. You really want this to kind of get smoky. I'm gonna add a good amount of cooking oil. Okay, so for the most part, my chicken is done. Celery and carrot. Gonna stir fry that. And I'm only going to stir fry this for about 20 seconds. It's not gonna, I don't want this to get too soggy or overcooked. So this wok is hot enough. This is exactly what I want. Now I'm gonna do a quick saute of the cabbage again. Not very long. Okay, so for the noodles, I really want to fry these. And add in my whites. So now, I'm just going to create a little space while these are still kind of getting little char bits and little toasty. I'm going to go in and do a quick saute of my chopped garlic in the center. I'm going to go back in with my chicken. Going in with my sauce. And this smells so good. Your veggies, just add the greens from the scallions. And that's it. I'm going to give it maybe another 30 seconds in the wok just to mix everything in. You could finish with a little bit of sesame oil, but remember I did add it into the sauce. And here we have a delicious chicken chow mein that is budget friendly. So I've tallied up most of the ingredients for a budget friendly chow mein. Check the description below so you can kind of see the breakdown, but it is going to average between $6.50 and $7. So a $7 dish to feed 4 people, chicken chow mein, really budget friendly in my opinion. You can always double this recipe if you have more to feed, or half the recipe if you're cooking for 2. It really is a versatile dish. You don't have to add chicken to it. You can just make it really hearty with vegetables, add mushrooms in it for an optional protein instead of chicken. It's so versatile and it's so budget friendly. Really good. I hope you give this recipe a try. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching.